Tonight, Trump pushes tensions high, teasing war.
All Iranian patriots keep protesting, take over your institutions if possible, and all I say to them is help is on its way.
And then backing down, and then deciding what else to dial up to 11 and walk away from. Related, Lindsey Graham's blue balls are so gorging, experts aren't sure if they can be drained at his local highway rest stop, with Arizona grinder users warned about approaching his swollen testicles. Also tonight, new banner from the Department of War features soldiers covering up their post-war opium addictions. Later in the evening, a new warning to protesters not to turn back and look at the guy who just pepper sprayed you. And lastly, will Trump's receiving of a Nobel Peace Prize help motivate him to conduct more war in Venezuela? But before we start this evening's broadcast, let's check in with the old intro guy who's been moved to field reporting. Why do you guys have me reporting from a field? I don't get it. I'm outdoors. Who cares? What am I doing out here? I'm supposed to cover the hard-hitting stuff. That producer man ruined my career. Kept unplugging things, stealing my wig. I'll get my vengeance. All right, and we're back, everybody. And, listen, we did 2 hard-hitting, very intelligent episodes with legendary guests. And I think that's enough intelligent chatter for the rest of the year. I think we covered it. I think we delved into all the topics. We got all the actual information. And now we can go back to our previously scheduled tech errors and other nonsense. For today's episode, I am posting up outside of a rest stop in Arizona, hoping that we might be able to catch an interview with Lindsey Graham before he makes his way to Israel. We're hoping maybe he makes a quick stop in and we can find out which demon overlords he's reporting to that he's this upset about the fact that Trump was not able to pull off a war. My God, the tech errors that happened today. I'm losing my mind here, people. I spent a whole weekend here redoing the entire studio and my sound system just doesn't want to work. There will be a day that I set this studio on fire. Do not collect any insurance money in any capacity because there is no insurance scam to run on this place. Really piss off the nice guy who split the studio space with me and lets me rent half of it, highly discounted, which I trade for Jew coupons. But anyways, listen, we're not complaining at the start of the show. We've got a lot to cover. I don't know why there's no comments showing up. I see a bunch of people in the live stream. It's a pleasure to have you guys. But listen, we've got a dense episode. First half, we're going to cover everything. And then if you want to go to robbernsteincomedy.com, we're going to get balls deep into some conspiracies in the second half. So I hope you guys make your way over there. But for the start of the show, before I take some comments, I already see you guys out in the comments. But, let's cover a little show material. And then I can get mad over whatever shenanigans you guys are putting into the comments that I could ignore. It's a choice. It's a choice to look at them and be bothered by what's there that you invited people to comment. So let's take a look at what we got planned here because there's a lot going on. And, we could start with the latest out of what's going on in Iran, which there was a non-strike. Donald Trump teased a strike. No strike. And I think my mic is... together this episode, checking all the equipment, making an intro video. It's all good, people. We're having a great day today. Everything's lovely. And, I really do enjoy when I get a nice calm break from my touring schedule so I can be home and work on more podcasts like this and really produce high-end material to take me to the next level. Only been doing this 10 years, and finally, we have a well-produced show that could take us to the next level and let people know all of the brilliance that I'm pulling out of my ass. All right, it appears that the sound is back until this very expensive. I gotta talk to the people at Rode. Except I won't. Except I won't. have I been talking for 5 minutes without any sound? Is that what you guys are telling me? I think that's what you're telling me. I think I could have looked over at the chat and decided not to look over at the chat. And I'm now looking at the chat. Did I just speak for the last 5 minutes and did not have any sound at all? Because here's what I'm thinking. Now I'm on. People are telling me correct. Here's what I'm thinking we should do. And there's quite a bit of you that decided to stick with me through 5 minutes of not sound. In fact, there's 100 of you who just were like, let's see how long he talks to absolutely nothing. I think let's do a 5th restart of the show. Let's just cancel the stream and we'll take a breather. We'll go outside for a Zin as if it was a full smoke break. I'll pee again. I'll think about the fact that I should have brought a coffee with me and we'll just totally fresh stream. You know what? I'll even take some comments before and I'll leave this one up on YouTube. I will leave this up, but we're going to run a fresh stream and we'll just hop right into the news. But you know what? Listen, because this is free bonus time now. We're in the bonus rounds of a podcast because I'm going to cover everything I worked on all day. And we're going to replay the intro so that the intro's there and that we got a nice clean episode. Seems like a professional operation here. But before I do, you know, we might as well let's clear out some comments. We've got, all right. Red Rum, I love that he's just filibustering anyway. Someone saying something about enhanced lip writings. Runaway Slav, Robbie is so brave for coming out of the closet. Too bad we can't hear the emotion in his voice. That would be funny. That's a good one, buddy. That would be funny if it was 5 minutes of me making my emotional plea of finally recognizing my gayness. Go see if Lindsay is in these tropikinis from the men rooms. I don't know what that is. This is why libertarians aren't taken seriously. Yeah, because we're bad with our tech. I'm okay with that. Red Rum 2381. Did you see Dinesh getting schooled by Dave? I got to finish that debate. I listened to, I think, about the first half hour. I got to finish the rest of it. One thing that stuck out to me, and I'll have to ask Dave about this because, listen, it's very easy to Monday morning quarterback a debate, be on the sidelines. I mean, I fumble my words all the time, particularly in the moment. But you know, I frequently we'll share this thought and then we will restart the stream and pretend like none of this ever happened. I got a buddy who's a little bit more into warfare and a strong America, getting out there and kicking ass. And we're hanging out in the car the other day, and he made a reasonable point, which is that America's actually great at warfare, but we're terrible at occupying locations. And for all the inhumanity that we have, we don't actually want to roll out the gulags. And if you want to actually be an occupying military, you really got to be evil to quash the insubordination in areas. Kind of like what Trump's doing in Minnesota. You got to pull out that kind of energy on the general civilians that everyone's scared as all hell of you. And then you can impose your empire upon them. All right. Anyways, that was an ADD thought. Dinesh was kind of making the argument that we're still great at warfare, but we're bad at the occupying part. And that was kind of, in part, I think, his claim for why we can engage in more warfare is that the warfare and the toppling is actually helpful. And it would be American first to basically topple people that we don't like. And even if we prop up a dictator that's worse for the people that live there, that's America first. We're good at going in there. We're good at toppling. We're good at kicking ass. We're very bad at trying to make the regions better for the people that actually live there. So let's just own it. Let's just get in there. Let's kick some ass and let's bounce. But that seems to overlook that when people warn, hey, when we go into these areas, we make a big mess and it turns out to be worse for us. That would include that twice in the last 20 years, we went into an area, we stuck around too long, killed too many people, and spent too much money. And so I guess part of the risk of engaging in the warfares that you advocated for is that people are going to want to stick around in the region too long and waste money for no reason. So, like, even if you want to say, well, you know, it's kind of the equivalent pitch that I hear from liberals a lot when it comes to regulations. Well, we could have the sweet middle spot of regulation. We can't not have these regulatory, sure, they went too far, or with COVID and other topics, they might have got, but there's a sweet middle spot. Anyone that's pro-government They will always tell you that, sure, in the past, we got things horribly wrong because we got cocky with our power. But that doesn't mean that in the future, we can't find this perfect sweet spot middle ground and use our power. Sure, all the times in the past, we fucked up regulation and we destroyed our markets, but there's still a sweet spot for regulation. It's on every time. There's still a sweet spot for socialism, and there's still a sweet spot for warfare. Sure, we've gone too far on a batch of our past wars, and we suck around too long and spent way too much money and perhaps bankrupted our empire. But there's a sweet spot that we'll figure out the next time the exact perfect amount of time to stick around for so that we don't actually bankrupt the empire. Anyone who's pro-government on any topic, it's always some pitch of some magical sweet spot of them getting it right the next time with the complete ignoring of every previous time that they tried to utilize their power. Because people on the sideline are going, hey, if you guys have this power, you're going to abuse your power. So let's just not have you guys have the power, return this function to the free markets, and the free markets better at coming to conclusions. And they're like, no, we'll find the sweet spot of applying our power in the future. And to me, that's always a lie. All right, I'll take a couple comments. We're kind of cooking here in our non-show pre-show. You know, there's going to be a triple show here. You get the non-show, pre-show, you get we do a lot of programming. I mean, a lot of people, they just put out one podcast in an evening. Tonight, you're getting like 6 podcasts. You got 2 false streams that didn't even happen. Then you had the stream when I tried to show you guys how my expensive top-of-the-line podcast board isn't working, and then I unplugged it. And then I started talking about how I was going to Dan Bongino crash out Rage if anything failed again, and didn't even realize that I was talking to nobody for a full 5 minutes while talking about how mad I would get if there was another problem here. And anyways, we'll take a couple comments, restart the stream from scratch, talk about all the things I wanted to talk about. And then if you guys want to go over to my website, robbernsteincomedy.com, we're going to cover some conspiracy stuff I want to do behind a paywall. Robert Baird, C8D. The Minnesota National Guard currently has approximately 13,060 members. Why aren't they calling up to protect their citizens? Well, I think that's what... you're saying why isn't the Minnesota National Guard coming in to protect their citizens against ICE and against possibly the National Guard showing up? That sounds like you're advocating for a real civil war over there. Someone called marijuana as goynip, and I can't stop laughing. There's something there. Red Rum, it was hilarious. Thank you, sir. A fix. While you step out for a Zen, ask Gronk about the goy beam. It needs to be spread. I don't know what you guys are talking about at this point. All right, let's take one more comment, and then we're taking a break, and I'll be back. I think you could bring out the lows a tiny bit, sound more macho, not to mess with the audio at this point. But on a related note, I have an OBS plugin idea that might help for those muted situations. robsnewsroom@gmail.com. If you want to set me up with OBS before I go into StreamYard with plugins to level out all the sounds and smooth everything out before we go to all the places, I'm happy to hear you out. And then when it fails, I'm happy to curse you out live on air and put a face to the producer man name of who. I'll blame you for everything that goes wrong from every moment from there. But please shoot me that email, because we could really use the help. And if nothing else, it's nice to have someone to blame anyway. I don't have a wife, girlfriend, kids. That's the nice thing about having other people in your life, is that when things aren't going well, you can blame other people. When it's just you alone in your apartment and things aren't working out, there's no one else there to blame. So please, if you want to step into helping with production, so at a minimum, there's a face to the we'll literally it's this guy's fault wall, and we'll get a picture of you up on the wall. And anytime anything goes up, I'll be able to point to you and go, hey guys, it was this fan who said that he could help and ruined everything that was completely flawless until he generously said that he would lend his expertise into smoothing out what was otherwise a problematic show for the over decade I've been doing it. All right, guys, gonna pull this Zin out of my mouth, have a fresh Zin, take a leak, restart the stream from scratch, and pretend like nothing ever happened. See you there. Back and